Rusty.pro. So now we should have a different name, we should have a picture, we should have a description, and people should be able to link to our website. We have a modded server running, and we have Vanish installed, and you should be able to install your own plugins, figure out what kind of files you have to put where, what kind of permissions you have to give yourself or a certain group for it to work. That's it. So let's see. Hey everybody, and welcome to another video. This is gonna be my second video in my Rust tutorial series, and my plan was to make this video like a week after I released the first one, but we're a month later and I was really busy with jobs and getting new jobs. I switched jobs again, so I was really busy. And I'm trying a new recording way, so hopefully this will make it a lot faster for me to like spit out doesn't seem very good, but like push out these tutorials, and hopefully it's not gonna be another month before the next one comes out. At least that's never the plan. So what are we going to do? If you've seen the last video, you should now have your own local server, like a little test server running. You can connect to it yourself, and you can connect with the Rusty admin Archon tool, and do like a little admin stuff, and that's basically all we did last time. So what are we going to do this time? We're going to do a little bit cleanup. We're going to add a picture. We're going to do a server description, and we're going to install Oxide, which is the platform to run the plugins on. We're going to install a plugin, so I'll show you how to do that. And then you're basically set. So you can, if you want to make a test server, you can choose if you want vanilla or mods, depending on what you want to do, of course, with testing. And then you should be able to like figure out how to install plugins yourself, the ones you want. And that's basically where the whole fun starts. If you're doing vanilla and you want to make it public, like make it a public server, so a non-testing server just for you, you're basically only chasing numbers, because it's really hard to get your server growing. If you're like a YouTube, Twitch figure, or some kind of, if you have a following, it will be a lot easier if you already have that audience. But if you're just a new server with not a name everybody knows, like Rustified or something like that, it's going to be really difficult to get your server filled with players. It's not a matter of hosting it or renting a server and going. So if you have plugins, there's 1,001 options, even more probably, and configuration like plugins together. So it's a lot more. That's not a correct sentence, but you know what I mean. It's like you have way more option, and you can really set it up differently. You can go for a Battlefield server, which if you join, you automatically start with all the weapons, and it's just about shooting. You can make 1,000 times server where it's all about building. You can make a PvE server, like so people actually cannot damage each other with plugins. It's a lot more options you have. There are a lot more options you have if you go the modded way. So no more talking. Let's dive right in. And as always, there should be a little list in the video description with topics to click on. So if you think I'm already rambling too much, just look in the bottom, look for the topics you want to know stuff about, and watch that. As long as I can help a little bit, it's good. So first off, let's do a little bit of cleanup, I guess. So we got two windows here. This is my normal Rust, and this is the server, and the server is this window and this little information window. This is pretty confusing, and as you can see also, I'll put it in the screen, some people were asking me questions on the older video, like, what now? I got this screen with the clouds, and I cannot do anything, my server isn't starting. So we don't need this screen, it's basically annoying. So we're gonna fix that. We're gonna close our server. So we go into the folder itself, and we go into the batch folder, batch file, sorry. And after rust dedicated.exe, we say batch mode. And now, if we run this, we should only get this window. We don't get the second clouds window, and we only have one Rust icon in the bottom. And the server should be good. If you didn't notice yet, I have a little bit of a throat problem, so I sound a little bit different, but should be understandable. Okay, so we got rid of that window, and the server is running. So now you would think it's the same as the last video. If I try to connect, I got a message because it's been a month and I didn't touch this folder or Rust server, and it says the server update, not the server update required. So if we go and close our server, so we're going to update our server, and we go back to the folder where the Steam CMD is, and in that folder we're going to make a new text document, and we're going to paste this in there. And now we need to give this, has to be our location of the folder. So we go in the folder where our server is, and we click on this little icon, and it will give us the path in text. So we can just copy it and paste it. And now we're going to make it a batch file, just like we did in the last tutorial. So we're going to call it update.bat. And we should have our update here. So if you click that, it says connecting anonymously, waiting for user info. Okay. Now it's going to check if there's an update, which we know there is. And it's going to download it. That's difficult apparently. We're going to download it. This shouldn't take that long, depending of course on how fast your internet is and how big the update is. And I'll be back when this is finished. Okay. Oh, some nice sounds. So, update is done. We shouldn't be looking at this. Okay. Update is done. I wanted to show you what it said, but it automatically closes the window. It just said app successfully updated or installed, I think. So now we should, if we start it up, we should not get our second Rust icon, and we should just get the CMD window, and it should in a second go start up the server, and it should say server startup. And we should be able to connect right now, or not right now when it's up, because it's updated. Okay, so this is done. Now if we go into Rust, we can actually connect. What is my server name? I have a feeling there are going to be several. Oopsie. Okay, so it actually came back. It didn't crash. So you can see we can connect. We can connect. Duh. So server's updated. We're gonna add Oxide. So we're gonna go to oxidemod.org, and we click on downloads twice, and it gives you here Oxide for Rust, and this is Oxide for Rust Legacy. You don't want that. Take the Oxide for Rust and download it, and it will automatically download, but I already did that. Connect! BitConnect! Okay, we're in. What kind of seed is this? Are we admin still? Guess not. Okay. This is a very weird seed. This is a nice spawn though. Okay, so we're on the server. We're gonna close the server, and it's gonna disconnect us. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Every 3, every 2, every 1. Okay. So we go to we're going to our server. You can see we have a Rust dedicated _data folder in the Oxide map, and there's already one in here. So if we drag it onto there, it will say, do you want to merge these? Yes. And we're going to do this for all. Yes, we want to merge, and we want to override everything. Okay. So now If we run the server again, loaded plugin Rust by Oxide. So now, get down. It's you see here modded, and you saw the little. I think you saw the little message. So now we have a modded server. Let's see if we can still connect. I already explained that this doesn't work. We can connect, otherwise it would tell us it cannot connect here. So the server is running and it's modded. So should we connect? Let's make ourselves admin. Let's go local, connect. We're connected. And let's get our Steam ID, owner ID. Oh yeah, it's still here, of course. Ted, and we are owner. Good. So now we can connect. Oh yeah, that doesn't work. Okay. So now we are connecting. We are admin or owner, and the server is modded. Oh, that's me loading into the camera. Like, what the frick is that? Yes. So we are admin, and we got a modded server. So let's install a plugin. We don't need this, and we don't need this. We'll need that in a little bit, so let's leave it open. If you go to oxidemod.org, that's basically where you get all your plugins. You click on plugins. It once again gives you, because Oxide supports several games, we want to go for the Rust, of course, and not the legacy one once again. And these are all the plugins there are. So there's a lot of things, and these are all the free plugins, and they're also paid plugins. And if the math wasn't right, I'll just cut it out. There are way too many plugins for me to show you how to install every plugin. They're all different, but they should all give you the explanation on what kind of files you have to place where, what kind of permissions you have to give, etc. So we're gonna install one. If we're gonna go to top plugins, these are all the trying to make a tutorial. Okay, these are all the top plugins you have here, and we're gonna install Vanish, which is a pretty good one, and it allows you, it says here, allow players with permission to become truly invisible. Oh yeah, there's a new website, this UMod thing. I never used this, so apparently it links you to UMod, which I think should be exactly the same. It looks better, the website, but anyway, it shouldn't change anything. You can probably also go through the plugins right here, but like I said, I never used this website. This is new. I think it's the same creators and it's just linked. Let's go on. So now you can download, and it will download a .cs file. And it says here, if you click on permissions, there are several permissions, and you can create groups. Let's say you make an admin group, and all the admins have certain rights that are different than the players. You can then give permissions to that admin group, or to a specific group, and then you just have to add people or remove people from that group if you want to give them certain permissions or certain abilities, basically. Or you can give a certain user a permission. So I could make myself as the only owner, or as the owner, I could give myself all the privileges and all the permissions and everything, and then have admins under me who have a lot of permissions but not everything. And then the players have all the standard or all the player permissions. So if we want to install this Vanish plugin, I'm going to copy it, go to our folder from the server, which apparently is closed. If you go into the Oxide folder, and then you have several other folders, go into the plugins, it says it's empty because we don't have any plugins. Let's open up the console. If we paste it in here, just by putting it in the folder, it will automatically load. So it says here in our console or in our Rusty admin, load a plugin, and then the plugin name, who it's created by or maintained by, etc., etc. So now it's already running. So what do we need to do to become invisible? We need to say vanish. So let's try that. Vanish. And it says you do not have permission. Makes sense. Should have make sense. So what do we... It says we don't have vanish.use. Okay, required to go invisible. Vanish.use. Okay. So now we go to our console, or if you don't use Rust admin, you can go in F1. And as long as you don't have a very itchy nose, you should be able to be typing in. So the permission system is an Oxide thing, and Oxide is once again the framework that all the plugins are running on. And Oxide basically hooks into Rust and can extract data from it and manipulate it through plugins, basically. So if we want to give us the we're gonna give ourselves, in this case, because we're not really in a group. Well, we're in a default group and in the admin group, but let's make it simple. We're gonna give ourselves permission. So we're gonna say Oxide dot grant, because we wanna, you can or grant or revoke. So we're gonna grant, and that means giving, basically, or allow. Oxide dot grant, and you have two options: user or group, like I told you. So in this case we want to say user, and then we want to say my Steam ID, user, this Steam ID, so that user, and we're going to give it vanish.use, and it says player Mr. T Pommes with this Steam ID granted permission vanish.use. So now if we do vanish, we get a little icon in the bottom left saying that we're vanished, and in the chat it says you're now vanished from site. You should be able now to go to any plugin and look at what kind of here you see where stuff needs to go. So if you want to change the messages, it says here that under Oxide, then language, and then English. You can change the files, or you can change the strings basically that gets set in the chat. So we go to Oxide, language, English, and this is the core thing that is like Oxide that's created always. And we're going to open this up, and it says you should be here. You are missing permission, and this is basically a data place where it calls, because for us it said in the game you are missing permission vanish.use, and this basically says get whatever permission they are using and print that in the text. So if you wanted to change the messages or something, because this message is only for me, but some plugins say stuff in the chat like globally, and then you might want to add might want to add your server name, or change some of the settings, or change some of the strings. So in the language, if you go into Oxide, you're gonna paste all your plugins into the plugin folder. It will then automatically generate a config file and a language file for whatever plugin, corresponding with whatever plugin name you are using. And if you want to change settings from your plugin, you go to the you go to the config folder. And if you want to change text or strings, you go to the language folder. So in this case, we can have a look what is in the vanish config file. Image icon. Okay, so you can change the little ghost icon you can see on the bottom left. Performance mode. False. No idea what that means. Play sound effects. Sorry. If this set to true, when you go invisible, people globally will hear like a whoosh sound. It's a good sound effect, right? And when you come back, I'll do it again. Whoosh. So you can, if you don't want that, if you really want to be able to secretly spy on people or admin them or whatever you want to do, you could change that to false, save it, and then it's you have to reload the plugin. So after all the changes you've made, the best thing is to unload the plugin first by doing Oxide.unload and then the name of the plugin. So in this case, vanish, and it is capital sensitive. So if I do that, it says unloaded plugin, vanish, blah 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 blah. Then you save it. I'm not gonna do that now because I don't want to use this anyway. And then you do Oxide.reload, vanish, and it says loaded plugin. So then it will reload the plugin with all the new config or language files that you edited. If you edit your plugins while they are loaded or running, there's a really big chance that it will just spit out a default config again, because it basically cannot comprehend the changes while it's running in memory. So unload the plugin, make your changes, reload the plugin, reload the plugin, and check if your changes are correct or are working as you expected it. So, what else? No. Okay, so while you guys were away, I changed the name of the server, test.server server. And if you check here, we have no picture, we have no description, and this is the title. That's the only thing that shows up. So let's fix that. We're going to go into our start, and we're going to add some stuff. First of all, let's do a image. So we're going to add, it doesn't really matter where, as long as it's not in front of the Rust dedicated.exe, and as long as you have one space between every comment and a plus, you should be good. Okay, so it says server.header image, and then between the quotes, this is when we're going to put our image. So let's go to this one. I already made this. This was our beginning picture. In the end, we added more icons and stuff, but let's just use this one. If you want to use the link, as you can see in the example that's in here, it has to end in .jpeg or PNG or whatever. I think PNG and JPEG are the only ones that work. I'm not sure about that. So this link doesn't end in that. So what we can do, if we say copy image address, and just to make sure, sorry, okay, so copy image address, and just to check, it ends in .png, or at least a picture extension. So we're going to add that here between the quotes. Make sure it's between the quotes. It is. So now we have a picture. So let's do the next thing. We're gonna add a description. So as you can see here, server description plus server.description. Description shown on server connection window. So let's delete that. This is our description. I think I spelled that right. And new line. If you do this, I'm pretty sure it's this one, otherwise it's the other one. You will get a new line in your description, so you could put several things below each other. And just mess with this and see how many characters you can fit in. Just restart your server, see if it's working, if everything is on there. You should be good. Last thing, we're going to add our website, and there's always a view website button in like the server description, and if people click that, they will link to your website. So in our case it was rustique.pro, and let's go back in there. Oh wait, I didn't copy this in yet. So new line, yep, make sure there's one space. new line, one space, server URL, your website, rustique.pro. Between the quotes, rustique.pro. So now we should have a different name, we should have a picture, we should have a description, and people should be able to link to our website. We have a modded server running, and we have Vanish installed, and you should be able to install your own plugins, figure out what kind of files you have to put where, what kind of permissions you have to give yourself or a certain group for it to work. That's it. So let's see if we now save this. Let's close the server first. Let's save this as our startup. Let's just do 3 so we don't mess up the other one in case we mess something up. And we run our start 3. There should be some more info here. Let's see if it loads up without any errors. And it should also say Vanish and Oxide loaded. It says here Vanish, you can't see, but here it says Oxide Rust. Test it. So let's connect to it. Let's see if it actually shows up. It does. Oh, the new line didn't work, but the picture works. The reason it's really bad quality is because I have set my settings when I started up. When you have the little window, I set it to potato, and if someone has this, basically the higher settings they have, the better the picture will look. So there's no problem with the picture. That's just the settings of my Rust at this moment. So let's just join for now. And we're in, and if we click on the view web page, it sends us to rustique.pro. I just closed them both, and I'll show you again in case you don't believe me. We'll view website rustique.pro. So everything is working except the new line. So let's fix that, and then we should be good. So we're gonna close the server, and I am pretty sure it's just the other /then. So let's change that one for this one. Save it. Start 3.bat. Oh, BAT. Let's save that. Yes, I want to replace it. Let's start it up. Let's wait for it to start up, which should be pretty fast. And it's running. So let's see if we can find our server. We can. And we got a new line. But as you can see, there's a little space, so probably if you do it like this, like this, you won't have that problem. So now you can add a picture, you know how to change the title, description, mods, plugins, Oxide, plugins, permissions, file locations. If you have any questions, put them down below. Leave a like if you actually learned something. Next up is gonna be I'm gonna show you how to run events on your server, because that's like a nice way of showing off how certain plugins work together, because you need spawn points, you need an arena, you need an event manager, you need a game mode, and you need to set everything up so it works together. So if you can do that, which was kind of a hassle for me to work out in the beginning, you should really be able to understand and get the grasp of how the plugins work together, etc. So even with my messed up voice, I'm gonna attempt one. I'm out. Thank you for watching, and as always, oh, one more time. Have to end on a good one. Whew. It's as good as it gets. Thank you for watching. Peace. Thank you very much for watching. Click on the left thumbnail for my most recent upload, or click on the right for a video that suits you best. As always, have a very nice day. I'm out. Peace.